Welcome to the space for transformational leaders to unleash their magic, see better client results, work lighter, and live source. Hello, and welcome to this very special interview series today with certified sourced leader, Dr. Davia Shepherd. Woo, welcome, Davia.
Thank you, Darla, so much for having me today.
I am so excited. This is something we've just started doing with our renewing certified source leaders. And it's so fun for me to get to talk with you, after you've had some time in your work since becoming a certified source leader and really unpacking, hey, what's changed? What does this really mean? So I'm excited because it's like a new way of us talking about this concept. Before we dive in, I want to just share with people a little bit about Dr. Davia. So she is a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, and she helps her patients feel better every day as a chiropractor and holistic practitioner, I would say. And the thing she's most passionate about, though, that gets her out of bed in the morning is the opportunity to support women in getting more visibility in their businesses through collaboration. And we're going to talk a lot about this. She is the host of Ladies Power Lunch, or LPL for short, which has a lot of different arms. She has a Facebook community. She does an annual spring and fall summit where you can get together and make connections and learn how you can collaborate with other business leaders. The thing that Davia is most known for is being an amplifier. So really helping you to translate who you are into the world in a bigger way. So she'll explain to us a little bit more about what that means as we dive in. But Davia, I would love to start with, tell us about Ladies Power Lunch and why you created it.
Thanks, Darla. Wow, it's nice to hear somebody introduce me because sometimes I don't think about all the different things that I do and all the different things that make
And
up
you're always
who
the
I
one
am.
introducing everybody, right?
It really, really is a different place to be the interviewee instead of the interviewer.
Yes.
So let's see. Ladies Power Lunch. It was completely an organic start. I didn't set out to start an international movement of women. That was never, ever on my agenda. But what I noticed when I left corporate and came into this more private practice setting is that the networking things that were set up, the networking structures that were available didn't really fit me. But I made a lot of really great connections through the networking structures that are out there. And so one day I invited a whole group of women who probably felt the same way that I felt. I said, hey, why don't we go have lunch together outside of all the other things that are happening? And 6 women said yes, 6 women showed up, and it may have been one of the best lunches that I've ever had. You've always heard about women getting together and how when women get together, amazing things happen. I saw that firsthand on that day. There were women who needed different things. It wasn't like everybody came to the table and they were like, okay, I need these referrals. It was nothing like that. It was like everybody came and their intention was to give. Their intention was to be supportive of the other women at the table. So I remember there was one woman who needed a babysitter, nothing business related. She just needed a babysitter. There was another woman, she needed somebody to help with her elder care situation with one of her parents. And of course, there were people who needed referrals, but everybody put their cards on the table and everybody left with a solution because people just pulled out their phones. They made connections. There was a woman who said, hey, I never share my babysitter with anybody. And for those of you who have kids, you know babysitter is sacred. And she was like, I'm going to share my babysitter with you. It was amazing. And everybody left the table saying, hey, we need to do this again. But you know, you ever say to somebody, oh, let's have lunch, and then it never, ever, ever happens? I feared that that would be what would happen. And so I think fear is a kind of a strong word, but I suggested, okay, here's what we'll do. Let's do this. Let's put it on the calendar, because Darla, to get all six of us together
Right.
had already been difficult. It wasn't easy. The women are all busy women. Which women aren't, right? And so I said, let's put it on the calendar. It's the third Monday of the month. Let's meet. Third Monday of the month, we'll meet right here. We were in a Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 in Bristol, Connecticut, just the most random of places. And ever since then, you know, so many years ago, every third Monday of the month, we get together. And through
what was it, Davia, that warmed your heart about seeing people connect in this different way?
Well, you know what I notice is that a lot of the connections that we make are so very surface level, especially in this networking space that a lot of us find ourselves in, or in this online space where we're connecting with each other. It's so surface, it's so superficial. It doesn't really meet the criteria of what a true heart-centered connection really is. And yet these women, a lot of them didn't know each other ahead of our meeting together. They only knew me, perhaps tangentially knew each other, but they got to the table and they were all wanting this. They were all craving this deeper connection. And so that's really the bottom line. You can get to these deeper connections. It is possible. And when you get there, it's amazing. It's just the best thing ever.
We're going to come back to that and dive deeper into the type of collaboration that you see works. I want to just ask, you know, when we met, you had this group and you are functioning as a chiropractor in the world. And yet this group is like really where your heart was. What did really becoming sourced and being a sourced leader in your world mean for you?
Well, maybe it might help if I gave a little bit of a context to how I even connected with Sourced in the first place. I was behaving like a backdoor coach, basically. That probably didn't come out right.
Actually, I bet a lot of people relate to that.
So what was happening, Darla, is that in my practice with my patients, a lot of my patients, because of the connection with Ladies Power Lunch, a lot of my patients are entrepreneurs. They'd come in, they would have pain, and we would arrive at the conclusion that their pain is not necessarily solely physical and that there are other things going on. And so I became their coach and their psychologist and their chiropractor all happening at the same time in a session in the office. And then one day, one of our patients suggested to me, you know what you should do? You should take patients on a retreat. And so we started doing retreats. And that's how I ended up connecting with you, because you were certifying retreat leaders and in that retreat space. And I wanted to know more. My strengths finder strength is love of learning. So if I'm going to start leading retreats, what's going to happen, Darla? I'm going to want to learn how to do it properly. I'm going to want to learn how to do it in the best possible way. And of course, tuning into inner guidance, it was so serendipitous because literally your cookie was following me all over the internet for no reason. I think I had probably Googled retreat locations or something like that, and your cookie was just following me. I bought your book, I joined your Facebook group, I joined your program, and we've been together ever since, and that was so many years ago.
Amazing. So isn't that wonderful? You were invited by a patient to consider hosting a retreat. And here we are. And now you have a community. You do 2 summits every year. You help people with their visibility. I want to speak more about that. And I'm curious, as you have settled into this idea of connecting to source as your guide, and really that your clients are also sourced, right? What do you envision for the world if everybody were operating that way? Or at least, you talked about in your community, people want to get to know each other at a deeper level, and you attract that type of person. What would it mean? I'm wearing my source shirt today. If you could identify people in the world and you knew they had this philosophy for life, how would that change things in the world?
Well, I don't know. I feel as though so many of us have this idea, or so many of us have this philosophy, but we may not call it by the same name
Mhm.
or use the same words, or we might not even be living it every day in our lives. But I think the work that you're doing, Darla, is tremendous, because what we have been able to do is we've been able to put words to the feelings that we've been having. We've been able to put a structure around the ways that we have been being. And so now that we know what this all is, we can find more people who feel the same way that we feel. And as we connect, we light up. And the people that we're connecting with, they light up their people, and their people light up their people. And on it goes until, I don't know, maybe there's an opportunity for the world to be a completely different, more heart-centered, source-led place than it is right now.
That's so beautiful. That's exactly how I see it. And I love that you said, there's more people who are thinking this way and operating this way in secret, in private, but don't really have the tools or the confidence or feel like they have the permission to speak it publicly. And so just connecting with other people who speak the same language lets us let our light out a little bit more. I see it as, I call it little pillars of light all around the world. And we're like this, and then we meet each other and we're like, oh, okay, maybe a little more, right? Until we're outstretched and connected. So let's talk about being connected. Let's speak to what it is to have collaborations that are sourced. I mean, that's my language, right? I know you use the word grow smarter, and I see up behind you your book. So Davia has her own book, Grow Smarter, and she's also facilitates a lot of collaborative books as well within her community. Speak to, you touched on this connecting at a deeper level. Can you just speak to what it is to have these more conscious collaborations and what that means for you?
Well, a collaboration, I think a lot of people like the idea of a collaboration, but they've also had some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some trauma, maybe a little post-traumatic stress around things that they've considered in the past to be collaborations, which have not at all fit the bill. And what always comes to mind for me is an experience that I had back in college when, those college projects that everybody's supposed to participate in, Darla. And okay, maybe I
Yes.
do still have a little anxiety over that. But
I can make
everybody's supposed to participate. Everybody's supposed to
yes.
pull their weight. And I would find very often that I was the one who was doing a lot of the work, because other people weren't showing up in the way that would be expected. But here's the thing, those are not collaborations. And those kinds of connections, those aren't the sort of heart-centered connections that I am talking about. When you have a collaboration that works, it requires the four wins. What are the four wins, you might ask? Well,
What are the four
what
wins?
could they be? It means that you win, Darla, because it's your collaboration. It means that your collaboration partner or partners, they win too. One of the things that seems to show up a lot is that when a lot of us are in collaborations, the other people win and we don't win. Ask entrepreneurs everywhere and they'll tell you, yeah, but. That's something
Yeah,
that they say.
I've seen this happen over and over when retreat leaders decide to partner together on a retreat, and maybe one person is doing more of the marketing,
Yeah.
or both people think the other person's gonna, handle it, and it never happens. I see this a lot.
And then the third win, yep, I see it too. The third win is when the client or the end user wins because they're part of this whole energetic structure as well. And then, of course, because we are sourced, the fourth win is that greater good, the good that is reaching out to the rest of the community and the rest of the world. And that's facilitating that thing that we talked about earlier, where we're all linking arms and we're all lighting up and everybody's allowing the world to be a better place.
Yeah. When you speak about that fourth win, I love that so much. And that makes me feel like energy, right? That is the energetic win. So,
Yes.
in our language, that the collaboration is not coming from a default, which, I see in the retreat experience where it's like, maybe the other person will rescue me. Maybe if the other person comes, I won't feel so exposed or vulnerable as a leader. And that can be a default thing, right? Like hiding, staying safe, not getting visible. When we're in sourced energy, the ripple effect is tremendous. And so that's what I'm hearing you say, when you're thinking about the world winning, it's like the energy impact of the collaboration is felt beyond just, the transaction, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's sort of like raising the vibration of the planet just from your connection with this particular energetic container, whatever it might be.
Beautiful. So, one of the things I've heard you say is that well, first of all, I think we should speak to, what was it for you to own your role in this? Because you've had the role, like you said, when you talked about the collaborations in school that weren't really collaborations, and then you end up doing all the work. And, I know that's part of maybe your default, maybe your innate personality is you're a doer. You get things done, you make things happen. What's it been like transitioning into being more of an amplifier?
Work in progress, Darla, work in progress. Because first, I think some of your viewers, your listeners, they might be familiar with human design, and I am built to be a finisher. I have the gate of finishing, like that's in my makeup. And I have this open route. So there's always that pressure to finish things and do things and get things done. And yet we need to be aware of the ways that we are and also the ways that we can be at our highest expression when we're fully expressed. And so I feel like this is what I'm here to learn, right? I'm here to learn how to be giving, but at the same time also to be able to be in that receiving mode. And as I learn it and as I get better at it, then I can also show up in that amplifier role, which is what I'm here for, in a so much better way. Because my human design is an amplifier. That's what I'm here for. I have no other role really except for that. I'm wide open. When people walk into my space, and this is probably one of the reasons why I was being a backdoor coach even before I did any coaching certifications or anything, because when people walk into my space, I can literally embody them. I can feel what they're feeling. I can know who they are. Oh my goodness, I don't even know who I am, and I can know who they are. I'm built for that. And so I'm here for it. And every day I'm learning, just learning to be better at it. it's all a learning experience. But one of our Ladies Power Lunch clients reminded me some time ago that we're all human and we're all just here having this experience. And what if these are just all things that we're learning along our journey? And so I'm approaching this idea of the work that I'm doing with Ladies Power Lunch more through that lens of just being human and just experiencing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even with the concept of being sourced, everything is sourced. We're always connected. We are always divinely connected. And then our mind will come in, or our default energy will come in, and we will forget or lose track of the ability to tune in and know, oh, what's my role here? Right? Who am I here? What's mine? What's someone else's? And that is the human experience. That is exactly what we're here to practice. So I love it. Okay. So question about collaborative visibility. So one of the things that you offer is bringing people into collaboration and facilitating the platforms through which they collaborate. And something that you said, I'm going to see if I can find it here. You spoke to holding the space for someone to embrace this collaborative mindset. So we talk a lot about holding the space as a source leader, right? As a transformational guide. We are creating a container. So your container is these different touch points of visibility. And then within the container, the transformation takes place. So someone might go from trying not to be visible, whatever that pattern is, to being able to be more visible. Or they might go from being a lone wolf, do everything myself, to being someone who can receive support. So how do you experience that as the amplifier, kind of holding the space for people? If you have a group coming in, and some may naturally collaborate, maybe some don't, some may naturally be more visible, maybe some don't naturally, let themselves be seen. What's that experience like for you?
Well, I'm gonna just say it can be a little bit challenging because you've done groups, Darla, so everybody's coming in with their own ideas, their own experiences, and it's always important to get everybody on that same level playing field, get everybody in the same place. My job in all of that is just to be a guide for them through the idea of how collaboration can be supportive of their work. You said it absolutely correctly. A lot of people have been taught over years and years and years of conditioning, just do it. And if I don't do it, it's not going to get done properly. I know that's one that I still, that's a tape that plays in my head sometimes. And I just had some cycle of proving things show up around that. So I know there are lots of people who, like I said before, have some traumatic stress about doing work together with others. And so I believe that it is in the teaching of the principles of what really makes a true collaboration, certainly the four wins, but definitely putting some structure around, well, this is a collaboration, but if it falls outside of this structure, it's not going to be. Teaching around that really, really helps get everybody on the same page. So we talk about, the 5 stages of collaboration, the asking, and it's not asking other people to collaborate with you. It's actually going within and determining what your boundaries are, what your values are around a collaboration. It's
beautiful
alignment.
Wait, let's underline that, because that's really a sourced approach, right?
Yes.
To tune into yourself first.
Yes, first. And I feel like, to be honest, I'm just going to be 100% honest with you.
I can count on you for that.
Yes. If you really do a fantastic job of stage 1, probably you don't even need the other stages. But it has to start there. It
Yes.
has to start with that going within and really tuning into what exactly is it that a collaboration is going to be for you. And then stage two is looking at that alignment, making sure that everything is in alignment, including the communications. Because how many times have you had a conversation with somebody and you've left the conversation thinking that you spoke about one thing and the other person left thinking you spoke about something completely different? So alignment has to be there. Then you have to make sure that there's an all-in situation. Everybody has to be all in. And a lot of the times we're thinking, oh, the other people need to be all in. But the question we have to ask too is, are we all in? The other day, I got invited to be a part of a summit that I really believe strongly in. And I realized after we started the planning process that I was not all in because I didn't have the time to be all in. And I had to gracefully excuse myself from that. Because as much as I felt like I had asked, I felt like I was in alignment with the mission, I was still not all in. So that's important. Assignment, making sure that, Darla, if you and I were collaborating together, that I'm not trying to do the thing that you're brilliant at, and you're not trying to do the thing that I'm amazing at, but we each kind of know our role in the collaboration. And then the absent resources, I'm not going to put you in a position where you have to do everything, and you're not going to put me in that position either. And so we're going to each do the thing that we're great at. And then we're also going to allow for bringing in other resources to support us so that nobody feels overwhelmed. And basically, if I can get the people who are sitting in our containers of support to appreciate these 5 principles and start to live these, and start to, through the exercises and the work that we do together, to actually start to workshop and implement these 5 principles, then they are ready for visibility because they're all on the same page.
I love it. Can you say what the last A was?
Oh, it's applications and resources.
Okay. Awesome. Yes. So good. So good. So ask, alignment, all in, assignment, and then applications and resources.
Yep.
Beautiful. I feel like that's so helpful because a lot of times people do get in for the wrong reasons, or they're, that really like, oh, I hope this will rescue me, or they go in with guilt over asking someone to support. One of the things I've been noticing myself saying a lot is pointing out the rites of passage of a transformational leader, like the things that everyone bumps up against at some point. And one of the biggest things is around collaboration, around asking someone to participate, to promote, to support. It's one of the hardest things I find that people move through. And it can often be the thing people procrastinate, right? And then they end up asking for support at the last minute. And then, kind of like you said, oh, I don't have the time. Perhaps had you planned it, 6 months earlier, had they planned 6 months earlier, you would have been able to work that in. And so there's this delay. And so I love that you start with asking, and then you check in, like asking yourself, and then you check in again to make sure you're all in, and just really confirming that this is an aligned experience. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if someone wants a breakthrough in collaboration, which by the way, I really believe, Davia, that, especially for women entrepreneurs, this is so important. It's how we're designed to work. And we've been trained out of it by society, right? Like a lot of the masculine teachings around partnership are very transactional. You do this, I'll do this. And they're not heart-based. I know I've heard you say, not your grandpa's networking, right?
It's not. It's not.
So I really do believe that learning to do this in a very, feminine energy kind of way, whether you're male or female, or non-binary, right? That we're doing this in a feminine energy sort of way is going to be so potent going forward. So for people here who they want to come, play with collaboration, get in the space, learn from you, learn from the people in your community who are actively doing this, how can they find you?
So I have a free community for pretty much there is only one barrier to entry to our
Okay.
community, and that is that you have to really believe in this idea of collaboration, and you have to truly believe that in collaborating in this way, that this is how we change the world and raise the vibration of the planet. As long as you're on board with all of that, then we welcome you.
Right.
And it's growsmarternotharder.com/Facebook. So
Beautiful.
that's basically where you'll find me. We're over there every day having deep, meaningful conversation.
Nice. We'll put the link below this video. And, something I've noticed, I've been in your community for a while now. Some of the people in your community have come through my certification program based on you connecting me with them. So I just, sharing that with everybody that this is working. You may connect with clients, you may connect with speaking opportunities, you may want to get into Davia's program where she gets you speaking opportunities and visibility. There's a way in which I know your people connect with heart, and you're always bringing this conversation forward about mindset, energy, intention, really the spirit behind what it is to be a source leader. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being here. We'll put the link below the video to find Davia. Any last words?
Yes, I would say just think about your life this way, or your life in business this way. If you found somebody who felt the same way about the things that you feel passionately about, and they're probably in a little bit of a different business from you, try this. And if it doesn't work, give me a call, because I wanna really troubleshoot it for you. Try this. Every entrepreneur out there has between 1 and 5,000 connections, whether it's on social media, their list, whatnot. Get together with this one person, apply the 5 principles, ask alignment, all in assignment, applications, apply all of that. And you guys get together and put something together and put it out into the world. And Darla, I promise you that you will have doubled your reach just by doing that one thing. Just doubled your reach like that. 1, and 2, you will be reaching out to people who might be losing sleep at night because they need the thing that you have, but they just didn't know who you were or where you were. Just try that one thing, just with one person. And then if you feel like that works well for you, come hang out with us, because we're a whole lot of people who can work together with you and get that same result.
Beautiful. Thank you, Davia. Thanks so much. Guys, put your questions, comments below this video, like, subscribe, share this episode, and we'll see you soon.